Hi Cancer, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your October 2021 love reading. Thanks to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the Bridging the Gap Spirit. And the way it works is we'll look at the past energies, present energies, and future energies between you and your main love interest. Once we get through all those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards for some additional insight. That's where the Bridging the Gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. Also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have the Two of Staves. So this is actually Aries energy here. Now, I feel like this is the same for a lot of you. You probably weren't putting much energy toward the connection. Just for one, we see his back is turned to the cards on this side, but also with this being Aries energy, could just be saying that you might have had a lot of focus toward your career, so you might not have been able to give much energy toward the connection. For some of you, this could represent that, yeah, maybe this was you taking action toward the connection with them, but primarily I feel like this is saying you were pulled away and not giving a whole lot of focus to the connection. Alright. Past energy on their side, we have the Five of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy here. Now, traditionally in Five of Swords, it could represent an energy of conflict and, trying to one-up someone, playing like these petty types of mind games. In this deck in particular, though, it refers more to actually just taking a risk. So this can just be saying for some of you, they might have actually taken a risk to come toward you, and it looks like I said, it looks like you guys were preoccupied. For a smaller percentage of you, it could look like maybe this is saying that this is someone who might have been trying to use some under the radar ways to get into your energy field, but I feel like that's a little less likely. All right. In the present position on your side, we have Grace. So this is actually the equivalent of the star card in traditional tarot, which is Aquarius energy. And when it was coming out, it actually came out almost sideways, but primarily upright. So for some of you, this can just be saying that maybe now you're feeling more hopeful about putting energy toward the connection. It looks like the angelic figure is pulling the woman out of the fire. So it could just be saying you might have had a lot going on, and that could be what the Two of Staves is about, where you might have had to put a lot of focus elsewhere. Like I said, I was picking up on primarily career, but it could have been other things as well. So could just be saying that some of you might be regaining hope and actually being able to get something off the ground in this connection. But like I said, since it almost came out sideways, I was for some of you, it could just be pointing to you might not be sure, So maybe like one day you might feel like, okay, there's potential for the connection. The next, you're not so sure. And with those birds there, to me, they could represent communication too. So maybe you might hear some communication that might give you a little bit more hope as to whether or not you could move forward in the connection or not. All right, present energy on their side, we have the King of Chalices. So this is Scorpio energy here. And usually this represents someone who their feelings might run deep, but they might not necessarily be quick to express those feelings. So for some of you, that could be what this is pointing to with the Five of Swords in the past too, where maybe they did have a strong attraction toward you, but rather than come right out and say it, they might have tried some other ways that you might have viewed as a little bit shady. So that might have been part of what drew you away from this person too, because you weren't sure if you could necessarily trust them. But yeah, I will say with this coming up in the upright, they most likely did have genuine feelings, but just getting them to actually express them probably isn't too easy. All right, future energy on your side, we have the Princess of Staves. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Wands. So again, this is an action-oriented card, just like we saw in the past position. But it does stand out to me that if we look at the horse, she's riding away from the cards on the side. And if we look at her facial expression, though, it looks like she's looking over her shoulder a little bit. So I don't know if this is like a cat and mouse type dynamic, where you're like running away, but also possibly hoping that they do chase after you. I don't know if that's necessarily what that is. Or if it's just saying, again, maybe you have other areas of like life that are pulling your focus away at this time. but you do still have some interest. So it could just be bad timing within this connection. We're going to have a full moon in Aries, which is your 10th house in October. And that's going to be square Pluto in your opposite sign. So could definitely be some energy there as far as maybe your work and career. Might be pulling you away from your romantic lives for the time being, but that's what I'm seeing there. And future energy on their side, we have the Seven of Wands, which is Leo energy, and the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy. So this could point to something different too, where this person, now normally I wouldn't say it's normally the style of a Cancer to be non-committal, right? But with the energies I've been seeing here, this in the future, it could just be saying that they might actually be the ones who want to move it more toward a stable commitment, and you might be the ones who are a little bit skittish about it. And maybe again, maybe it is because you just have too many other things going on. So there might be genuine passion and interest for this person, but you just might have other areas of your life that need more of your focus and attention. So you might be a little reluctant to enter into something more formal. But I will say with the Seven of Wands, we see the Five of Swords in the past. While I feel like their feelings are genuine, I feel like the way they might try to get things to happen might be a little bit underhanded, where they might, I wouldn't come flat out and say manipulative, but something does seem a little bit off, possibly with their energy, with the way they try to get things to go their way. All right, bottom of the deck on your side, we have Justice. So this is actually Libra energy here, represents a lot of balance and stability too. So it could just be as simple as saying that this is the theme for Libra season, and by the time we get to Scorpio season, maybe whatever this energy is will be cleared up for you guys. Could just be pointing to the retrograde as well. Maybe saying that you're reevaluating things during the retrograde cycle. But yeah, this does look like a fairly balanced, steady energy. So like I said, maybe for some of you what this is all about is if you were pulled away for a career and things along those lines, you could be finding that balance a little bit better during the Libra season, figuring out a way to juggle the two. But that's what I see there. And then bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Five of Wands. So a lot of fixed energy for one. This is Leo energy, Aquarius energy, Scorpio. This was Leo, and what was under there? I think more fixed energy. Yeah, Taurus. So they have all of the fixed energies. So this could be someone who gets really fixated on something. If they have a goal, they're determined to reach it. So it could just be one of those things where even as your focus seems to shift to other areas, you might feel like, okay, this person is persistent. It could be good or bad, right? Obviously, if the attraction is mutual, that could be a good thing. But that's primarily what I'm picking up on with this person. And seeing this card here could just be saying that they might assume the worst. When you're occupied doing other things, they might assume that maybe you're entertaining other people. But interestingly enough, too, beneath the Five of Wands, we have Justice on their side. So you guys had it as the top card at the bottom of the deck, but here we see it right underneath that Five of Wands. So it does look like they definitely want to have balance as well. It could just be one of those things where, like I said, they might have a bit of jealousy where they assume, okay, well, if you're not paying attention to me, then what are you doing, right? And then their mind just might jump to the worst case scenarios in those cases. But with Justice and the Sun underneath that, it does look like they are pretty genuine. Like I said, it's just something where I will say, if you get this feeling like their energy is a little bit off with the way they approach things, I do agree with that, but it does seem like they really are genuine feelings there. So it's not like they're attempting to manipulate things in a negative way, but they do seem to have an odd approach. All right, so moving on to your oracle cards. First, we'll see if we get anything from the Moonlight deck here. And I did pre-shuffle this deck before we started recording, and I'm actually looking for unspoken messages from you to them and then from them to you. Now, normally I would just take jumpers, but this month I've just been pulling cards too if we didn't get any jumpers, so I'll probably just continue with that theme for the rest of the month. So, let's see if we get any jumpers first. Okay, there's one there, and next we'll see if we get any from them to you. Oh, got one, but it fell. So let me pick that up and we'll take a look at both cards. Alright, so on your side, we have regrets. I should have, I could have, I would have. So interesting there, because especially what I was talking about in the past position, where it looks like there's one of these things where you might have genuinely just been pulled away and focused on other areas of your life. Like I said, I feel like a lot of you could have been a career thing. And then with the fact that I was saying the star almost came out sideways, which is to say, some of you might have had hope that you could get this connection back on track, and others of you might have felt like maybe it wasn't as much of a sure thing. But yeah, that could be what that's pointing to. Like I said, maybe you just had focus on other areas of your lives, and now the interest is still there, and in that regard, the justice could be wanting to restore balance for that reason. All right, and on their side, we have mountain. Okay, there it goes. It says something or someone is standing in between us right now. So yeah, interesting to see that, because that makes me think of what I was saying there with the Five of Wands energy, where, like I said, if they see that you're occupied elsewhere, their mind might just automatically jump to, oh, they must be with another person. Even now I don't really see that as being the case here. It doesn't, like, whatever this is that you got pulled away from doesn't seem to be another person. Like I said, I'm picking up on primarily career, but I don't really see another person in the picture there at all. So yeah. So it's just one of those things where, again, they could be very intuitive, especially if they are a Scorpio. So it could be like the energy feels off to them. So obviously they might feel like, okay, every time I approach Cancer, they're moving in the opposite direction, right? But, so they pick up on that, but they just might not be sure of what exactly the obstacle is. So makes sense in that regard. All right, and lastly, we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And I pre-shuffled this deck as well, but here we're just looking for one card with general advice, and then we'll wrap up. Alright, so nothing's coming up, so what I'll do is put the deck down, give me a few seconds to tune in, and we'll just pull a card. Okay, go with this one here. Alright, we have Loyal Heart. There's the artwork, and the number is 35. Alright, so let's see what we got. Okay, it says fidelity, loyalty, devotion. The Oracle's message. Evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. Others will prove they are faithful to you, and you will in turn commit fully to them. There is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected, and divinely directed. Alright, so pretty positive message there. And, like I will say, I totally get it if you feel like maybe there was something a little bit off about their energy, because like I said, I feel like their approach might be, they just might not be as direct as you would like as far as their feelings. But given that it seems like there's a lot of genuine feelings there too, I don't really feel like these cards that can be perceived as manipulative in certain cases, I don't think they're with bad intentions. Like I don't think they're hiding other people or anything like that. I just feel like it's more of they're not comfortable just coming flat out expressing their emotions as openly as you may like. The relationship message. says your partnerships, friendships, and romantic relationships all have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. So again, pretty positive message there, and like I said, I feel like that just emphasizes the point that even if their approach does seem a little off, I do feel like they do have genuine feelings, and they don't mean you harm with that. So hopefully that resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.